Hello. Hi. Hi there. Okay, my name's Bruce. This is my class in the forest, and I know that you probably know that, but I'll say it anyway. Oh, by the way, thank you very much for stopping by, and please, if you're so inclined, if you could hit the subscribe button and the like and or the not like or whatever, but hit some button. Anyway, thank you. As you know, I like to talk about three things. I like to talk about a person, I like to talk about a thing, an object, and I like to talk a little bit about an idea. Okay, so the object I'm going to talk about today is pizza, because I like pizza. Why not? Pizza's great. You can make it at home. And as time goes by, you can make better pizza at home, and you can refine your pizza making expertise, and it just gets better and better. What the heck? If you're at home, you got kids, you got the weekend coming up, you got something coming up, make pizza. It's fun. Collaborative effort. Person I'm going to talk about is my neighbor. Great guy, Max. I had a problem because a giant tree fell, not in my forest, but in near my house, and it was a doozy. But Max just got right on it. Him and his father-in-law came along. They cut it up, and Max carted it away for firewood. Thank you very much, Max. I appreciate that greatly. And the idea, as you know, I tend to talk about economics because I think it's important. Okay, I think it's important that that we understand a little bit about economics so we can use that to make sense of what's happening in our world. One thing that's happening in my world, it's called the winter. They have snow, or the beginnings of snow, and it's cold. You might notice I have a hat on, and that's it. But anyway, economics. Okay, so I've been talking about this idea of people, the individual, the business, and government. Now, I was reminded recently, like minutes ago, that what's the purpose of this whole thing? Why did I start? And I started because there seems to be a movement, or not a movement, but there's a these days. Say with this video, okay. There's no criteria here. I can do anything I like. I can talk about anything I like. There's no idea police that are going to come along and bonk me in the head, at least not where I live, and say no, you can't do that. Okay, so one of the good things about that is you can kind of do what you like and express your ideas freely. A negative is that there's some people with some ideas that are not necessarily so great, and they're able to express their ideas loudly, and the quality of an idea and the loudness of the expression are not necessarily related. Okay, so one of my motivators back when I began this was that I wanted to reach out to as many people as I possibly could, and I thought this would be a good way so that I can say, you know what, there's things in our world that are important, and there's things in our world that allow us to exist and live our lives the way we want to exist and live our lives. And one of those things is government. And just think, if we, in the absence of government, what do we have? Well, if this is your world is here, your world, this is you, hands, smile, this is you. Okay, this is you, and this is the great place of the planet, this is everything, and this is all there is you. Okay, so if all there is you, then great. Build a fire, eat papaya, try to figure out how to cook an ant, and enjoy your life. It's you. But a more realistic description of our world and our life, and even a simple world, is that this is you, And then in the outside of you looking, this is you looking, you're going to see a whole bunch of other people. Other people that we depend on and that depend on us. And I don't mean just our family, but I mean the person in the town 20 miles away or 20 kilometers away from kilometer land, 100 kilometers away, 500 kilometers away, however many kilometers away you want. But this is it. There's a lot of us. Okay. There's a lot of us. And we depend, whether we realize it or like it or not, on each other. Okay, so I have some simple things in my hand. I have a chalkboard eraser. I have a chalkboard. I have my forest. I have my hat. I have my shirt. I made none of this. None. Zero. This all was created through collaborative human effort, whether you think about it that way or not. But what permits this whole thing to exist is all of us. Okay. Now, the manner in which all of us is, we're going to have this thing, government. Okay. So, and in my part of the world, which is admit it, North America, and is our government is elected, and that means that if you're able to advance your ideas and make yourself popular enough, then you can get elected. And then you have the talking stick, or you have control of the reins, or somewhat control for a snippet of time. And then what happens is, as you enunciate your ideas and attempt to implement your ideas and enact legislation and governments, then what happens is your good ideas, they sort of bubble, and your bad ideas, well, they meet the fresh air. And when bad ideas meet the fresh air and are scrutinized, then quite often they're identified for what they are, which is a bad idea. And so the responsibility that we have as people, and the responsibility that we have as government, our government responsibility, I said this time and time again, is the role of government in our society is to maximize the well-being of everyone. Okay, the balance of all the needs. Okay, now some things are really easy, like it's easy to say, thou shalt not do this. Say, thou shalt not burn down thy neighbor's house. Okay, well, most people would agree with that. Unfortunately, there's someone that missed out on their class on what government should do, and that guy is, right now, he's the leader of Russia, and from time to time in our world there's such a person. And they think that, well, if I can't take my neighbor's house, and I can't take my neighbor's land, and I can't have what my neighbor has, then no one shall have it, and we'll just destroy it. And that's not a good strategy for anything, really. That's bad. So anyway, it's this idea that government. Okay. Now, long ago, when I was in grade 11, I had a substitute teacher for the first half of grade 11 English class, but for the second half of grade 11 English class, I had a guy named Jimbo Hollahan. And James Hollahan, who was my English teacher, I didn't really, I'm going to say I didn't learn a whole heck of a lot about English writing and criticism and such in Mr. Hollahan's class. Sorry to Mr. Hollahan and his relatives for saying that, but it's true. But this is more than 40 years later, and I did learn one thing. And the thing that I learned, well, I knew this, but he enunciated it. He said that one aspect of living in a democracy is that, one, is you're going to vote. Two, is you get to express your ideas. But three is when the laws have been enacted and the rules have been in place, is one of your responsibilities as a person is to go along, but not go along in a silly way. I mean, you go along. That's your job at a certain point. And then if you can enunciate why the thing that you're being asked to go along with is a bad idea, and you can explain why it's not the correct path, then what you do is you explain away. You try to convince other people in your community and in your world to agree with you, and some of them will and some of them won't, and that's okay. And then what you do is you have an election, maybe later you have a vote, and you vote away, and you win, and things change, okay? But the change occurs through whether you think of it as a process or not. It's a process, and the process, an important component of it is the discussion and the exchange of ideas. And if you happen to be in a place where your exchanging ideas is imperiled because you're concerned about being put in jail, killed, imprisoned, having your family killed or imprisoned, that's just a grotesque failure. And the person that's running that show, maybe they should tune into one of these videos and get it that we have responsibility to one another. Okay? Now, the things I talked about today, what did I talk about? I talked about some important stuff. I talked about pizza. Pizza. Make some at home. It's fun and it's tasty. I talked about my neighbor, Max. Thanks, Max. Talked about the responsibilities that we have in our society, both to the society, to ourselves, and to our neighbors. So please, there you go. Bear that one in mind. And if you're not sure, if you have an idea and you don't know if it's a good idea or if it's not a bad idea, go to a coffee place and buy yourself a coffee. Engage whoever happens to be within earshot of you in conversation, and then try to explain to them why your idea is good. See how it flies. Okay? Anyway, my name's Bruce. This is my classroom in the forest. I hope that you can like or subscribe or leave a comment, please, and enjoy your day. All right, bye now.